Good morning. Welcome back to Tuesdays with Paula. I apologize for our delay this morning. Tuesday, Facebook Live was not being very cooperative. But here we are, and I'm Paula K Bronte, your Master Rapid Eye Technician. And today's topic is strengthening our personal power. Last week I had such a huge response talking about personal power that I decided to continue with the chakras and how they relate to personal power. Last week we talked about third chakra, the center, right there, the solar plexus, the bridge between the lower chakras and the upper chakras. And that bridge, that point where we cross the dividing line from the lower frequencies that keep us really in touch with and connected to this world that are very important, can also keep us bogged down and drained and feeling heavy and powerless. And when we can cross that bridge from those lower chakras through that third chakra, the solar plexus that we talked about last week, to the upper chakras where we go into the heart and the vocal area, the throat where we speak our truth, and into the head and the brain where we come through intuition, that's where we really begin to raise our frequency and our vibrations become much more effective in the world. And so that third chakra we discussed last week is really pivotal to shifting up our consciousness. I was just telling someone the other day, actually my amazing, I love to plug her whenever possible, my amazing business coach, her name is Lynn Christian, and my other business coach, who is Kate Allen, that many of you know already. I was telling both of them how I'm finding more and more people coming to me who are truly ready to shift up into that next level of consciousness. They've done some inner work, and they know there's one or two really core painful things that just have not let go yet. And so we can get right to it. They're ripe and ready to just let those things go. And when that happens, we shift from those lower chakras being really clogged and heavy and making us feel like we are just subject to this world, subject to the external input from this world. And when we cross that boundary, when we raise those vibrations, when we come and have some rapid eye sessions and clear out those old non-functioning beliefs, non-serving beliefs, we pass that threshold of that third chakra and we go up into the higher chakras in a much more expanded and powerful way. And then we begin to really see our personal power and how it becomes so natural and easy for us. And so today's topic, I decided rather than going from third chakra up, we're gonna back down and honor these lower chakras, because they're the ones that often hold these really painful beliefs. And painful don't necessarily mean painful in that they are difficult to release, or when we do release them or when we deal with them, it's an awful, painful, traumatic thing. But they're painful in that they hold us back. They're beliefs that aren't ours. So today's topic will be the second chakra and how personal power and the second chakra really marry in a very big way. So second chakra goes, for those of you that don't know, from the waist, the navel, down to the pelvic bone. And it affects that whole area, lower back, the hips, the reproductive organs in the lower belly. And it governs, now here's really, I think, such an important and interesting enmeshment with personal power and second chakra. It governs relationship and creativity. It's reproductive. It's where we actually have the personal power to continue our species. And so when that second chakra is clogged and not working well, and it's been filled with lots of beliefs about particularly about sex, right? All kinds of stuff about sex. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's not an internalized message that brings us a sense of joy and makes us feel good about ourselves in relation to sex, then it's a damaging belief. And very often, almost always, we'll have a core piece of it in the second chakra. Right, those reproductive organs. And so when we start looking at personal power and second chakra issues, it becomes really fascinating, Creativity, right? Obviously, because that's reproduction. That's where we create another human being. It's also creativity in the arts and in any expression of creativity. How many of us walk around every day with this deep, almost grief around not expressing the full potential of our creativity? Whether it's writing, art, music, creating a business, creating the relationship that you want, whatever it is, we are creators by nature, right? We are a spark of the divine, and the divine is the creator. And so when this second chakra is clogged up with not only old beliefs and energies that we picked up from other people. Yeah, you know, as children, we've talked often about how we are just sponges, and we can take in all the energy and all the beliefs and everything around us. We take it in energetically, we see it, we believe it, we get told it, and that second chakra can just get really clogged with other people's beliefs and other people's energies, and we grow up with that. And then, of course, there's always the physical level, right? The foods that we eat, because there's an intestinal, small intestines are down there as well. And so, and as we are growing up, I've got my Kate back here. She clues me. And so, as we are discussing second chakra and sexuality, of course, the topic of abuse, which I've mentioned many, many times, is one of those things that fortunately is finally coming to the forefront in ways that it wasn't before. It's always existed. It has never not existed that I know of in the history of humanity. However, now we're at a place now where people are actually talking about it, and we're discussing it. And I remember many, many years ago when Oprah came out and started talking about her child abuse. And now we've got, we know about all these women now that are talking about men in positions of power that have been doing it. And these abuses, especially the ones from childhood, right? These are the key. Whether it was a family member or someone outside of the family member, any kind of abuse, particularly sexual abuse, is going to be just a program, an implant right there in that second chakra. And so as we go through life and we're desiring so deeply to be the creators that we are, but there's things holding us back, or there's sabotages, or we get close to it and then we say, yeah, but, or we become distracted by something else. It's very often because we've got these deep core beliefs around not being good enough. Second chakra is just a huge package of not good enough messages that often came from some kind of sexual abuse, or even being raised by a parent, or being in a family where other people were abused. Because again, we're energetic sponges. And so even though we may not have personally experienced the abuse, if someone in our family has, or genetically, if someone 10 generations back did, we can often experience it as if it was ours in an unconscious way, and often in the chakra system. And the second chakra is about joy. Right? Now, I know we associate feelings with the heart, and we'll get to the heart chakra in the future. But the actual vibration, the frequency of joy, unconditional joy, actually is seated in that second chakra. Which makes sense, because it's the chakra of creation. And what greater joy can a creator have than to create? And so, as you start to follow me with this series that seems to be taking shape around personal power and the chakras, start asking yourself about your personal power, especially in terms of your creativity and relationships. Okay, so second chakra is about relationships. What is your role in relationships? Is it consistent across the board? Are you in integrity with who you truly are, and you are who you are, regardless of who you're relating to or with? Or does your role change in relationships? Are you different with your spouse than you are with your best friend? Are you different with your mother than you are with your neighbor? Take a look and see how your role changes across the board in your relationships, because often that will be an indication of where you may be giving personal power away, where you may be saying, okay, all right, Mom, I know you need and want me to act a certain way, or I need to not have you disapprove of me, so I'm going to act a certain way. I'm going to take on this role so that we can just kind of be at peace. However, every time we do that, we break off a little piece of ourselves and give it away. And our personal power diminishes. And our second chakra goes, not really true to myself. So as we're exploring personal power in more and more ways, this week I would highly recommend that you start to take a few moments to meditate. Personal power on any level, at any chakra, no matter what the arena, will be increased through a consistent daily practice of meditation. Because when we meditate and we get quiet and we go into that still, quiet place within, we connect with the spark of divine. We connect with the aspect of ourselves that truly is divine. And when that happens, our personal power as creators, our personal power as expressions of the divine begins to increase. And when that happens, you'll start noticing in subtle and sometimes in not so subtle ways your personal power starting to just show up and evolve naturally. And you'll watch relationships start to shift and change. And so, number one, meditation. Go into meditation every day, even if it's just 10 minutes. Find a way to be able to breathe into yourself. Some people just focus on their breath. Stopping the mind chatter. That monkey mind, when it stops long enough for you to really connect with yourself, then you begin to tap into that divine aspect of yourself as a creator. And that second chakra starts to loosen up and open up. And so when you're in this meditation state, I would, for this week, because we're going to start playing with the chakras here every week, breathe into that second chakra. Breathe down into your lower belly. And begin to ask it, maybe before you go into your meditation, okay, second chakra, what message do you have for me? What do I most need to clear out? What do I most find an aspect of joy in my life? Ask it questions. What do you have for me? I'm listening. Meditation is when we listen. Prayer is when we speak to God, right? So in my meditation, I'm going to listen to you, second chakra. And in your breathing, breathe down into that second chakra. Breathe light. As you breathe in, breathe light into the second chakra. And as you breathe out, breathe light out. And begin that relationship with the second chakra. And notice how that feels. And notice as the day goes on. And keep going through your day being conscious of the second chakra. And as you begin noticing that things are maybe coming up to be released, go into that meditation and say, is there anything else that needs to be released? Is there anything else that needs to be released? Nurture that second chakra, right? It's been overloaded for many of us, all of us, right? All of our chakras are overloaded. And so nurture it. Right? It's your child this week. And go into it every day and ask, what do you need? What do you need to release? Is there something else to release? And how do I release? How can I release these things within you that most need to be taken from me? Right? And my personal answer to that is rapid eye. Okay, that is the number one way that I've learned, obviously, over the 20 years that I do this, to just easily get it out. I mean, it's so easy and quick to let go of these things that are keeping you from being happy in your relationships and the creative person that you are. In fact, since we're talking about relationships, I do have a story. Many years ago, I was working with a woman. I actually have 3 stories that are very similar to this one, but I'll tell you about her. She was in her late 40s, and she had abuse as a child. And she'd done lots of therapy, and she thought that it had all worked and she was fine. But she, as lonely as she was, she didn't want a relationship. I don't want to get married again. I don't want a man in my life. No, I'm okay. I'm fine. And I was like, okay, whatever makes you happy. And so we did a few sessions, and she met a man, and they fell very much in love and got married. And as she went through this process with me, she really uncovered that within her second chakra there was a deep desire for a partner, for a mate. But it had been so covered up and it had been so polluted by the past that she wasn't able to connect with it. And when we cleared out some of these things from her second chakra, now she had gone through therapy and it helped tremendously because you can identify things. However, it does not get it out of the body. And that's what we need to do, literally get it out of the body. And so as we release these second chakra abuse implants, she started, putting out a different vibe. And she invited me to the wedding. And it was one of the most gratifying, wonderful weddings I've ever been to, simply because I know I played, even though it was a small part, a part in having her happiness come to pass. So I love telling that story. It's one of my favorites. And so this week I would suggest that you do your meditation, breathe into your second chakra, talk to it a bit, maybe massage that second chakra, start giving it some attention. And you may want to begin writing. There's a wonderful technique called left-hand writing. You put the pen in if you're right-handed, you put your pen in the left hand, you ask the question, you put the pen in the right hand if you're right-handed, ask the question, and then put the pen in your left hand and allow the answer to come out. And I would start writing to my second chakra. What messages do you have for me? If you're wanting a relationship or you're having issues in your relationship, ask the question, what do I need to know about relationship? What do I need to know about finding my mate? What do I need to know about healing my sexuality? And then put the pen in the other hand and start looking for answers. Those are a couple of things you can do this week. And start focusing on the third thing is start focusing and noticing your role in relationships. And are you consistently who you are, or do you find yourself constantly adjusting for who you're with, so that the boat's not rocked, or so that you get approval, so that you feel safe? Those are three interesting and fun things you can do this week to start amping up and strengthening your personal power, to notice where you're giving your personal power away, and to also see if you are a chameleon. As we go through those relationships, this number 3 that I just suggested, as you change roles, that chameleon syndrome has gotten to be pretty ingrained in us, right? Okay, this person wants this from me. I'll be that so that they get what they want. Or that person is going to get angry at me if I don't tell them that they're great and wonderful, so I'll do that. So just see if you're a chameleon. If you're a chameleon, know that, first of all, forgive yourself, because you did it to stay safe. It was a defense mechanism you developed very young to cope with what was going on, and it was a great thing because it kept you safe. However, you're all grown up now, and you don't need it anymore. We don't have to be chameleons anymore to be safe. We can begin to claim our personal power and be who we are under all circumstances in all relationships. And working with the second chakra is really major in assisting us to get to that place. Right? So there's your 3 things for this week. I would meditate, go into some silence, speak to that second chakra, and then listen to it quietly. Do your left-hand writing, and if you're left-handed, go the other way, right? Ask the question with the left hand and write it with the right. Do your left or right-hand writing, and ask questions to your second chakra. Ask questions about personal power. Where do I give my personal power away? How can I increase my personal? What is personal power for me? And then the third piece is taking a look and seeing where you're a chameleon, and just noticing how you feel. Maybe after you communicate with that person, do you feel a little diminished? Do you feel a little, withdrawn because you haven't really been yourself? 3 ways to really take a look at personal power and second chakra. And another piece is joy. And so rather than putting all of the attention on what's blocking that second chakra and all the negatives, let's start to feed it with the focus of joy. Focus of joy. How do I release? Where do I feel heavy and where do I feel light? Asking yourself those questions. And then noticing that when you feel heavy, that sense of joy has been given away. And when you feel light, there's been a place there where you were able to connect fully with yourself and move into your joy. Because again, second chakra is all about joy. So if you find things, so there's a fourth thing for you this week. Find things that bring you joy. What makes me joyful? You may do that in your left-hand writing. What brings me joy? There may be some things that you haven't even really given attention to. Start feeding that second chakra joy. In the mornings in my meditation, I will often have Jesus or an ascended master come in and stand behind me. And from the very center of their heart, a fountain opens up. And they just pour golden light into the top of my head. And I call it joy. Pour your joy into me. I receive your joy. I am joyful. I am joyful. I am joyful. And allow it to just pour right into the top of your head, down into that second chakra, and fill your body. Putting your attention on joy is a great way to claim your personal power. Okay, so now try those things for a week or 2 weeks. And if you don't start seeing shifts in who you are and how you want to be, I would highly recommend that you give me a call and come and have some sessions. Because it means that there are some things that need to be released. And when they are, then you can move into this joy. You can claim yourself as a creator. And your personal power will expand. And then life gets better. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave you. I will give you a few suggestions. One is to go to my business page, please, and like it. That would be a wonderful thing for me. And I do, since I've talked a bit tonight about child abuse, I do work with children. And often, if I don't work directly with the child, what I can do is have the parent come in, and they can actually proxy the child. Parent and children, your energy and your DNA is so connected that I can do a session on a parent, and with the intention the child gets the benefit. So it's really two visits for the price of one. It works really interestingly, very remarkably. The other thing is that I would like you, please, to share my videos. Send it to everybody you know on Facebook. Right? I've got hundreds of people that are watching now, and it is so exciting for me that I get to have this arena, to have my light shine through and uplift others. That's why I'm here. And so please feel free to share this video. And go to my YouTube as well. I've got a YouTube channel where all of these Facebook Lives are on. My dear friend and advisor, Kate Allen, has created a YouTube channel for me. And there's a playlist where the Facebooks where I do Rapid Eye sessions are actually listed. So you can go right to the Rapid Eye sessions and get some for yourself. And then, of course, the next thing is that I do Skype. I have clients all over the world, and so I do work remotely. So if some of these suggestions I give you don't give you the changes you want, then there is absolutely no reason in the world not to give me a call. And get yourself to that place of power, because that's who you are. Thank you, everyone. Bless you. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.